The Himalayas, the world's highest mountain range. Amidst the peaks run the fault lines between India and Pakistan. Two nuclear powers armed to the teeth. An uneasy truce holds between them. But in May 1999, Pakistan lit the fuse that started the Kargil war. Of the many hard-won battles in the war, this is the story of just a few. And of a handful of exceptional young men whose actions on the front line have come to define valor and sacrifice. A forward post of the Indian Army. 23-year-old Lieutenant Saurabh Kalia is heading a patrol in the area. They have intel on intruders in this sector. The Indian detachment find themselves surrounded by heavily armed Pakistanis. The gun battle ends badly for Lieutenant Saurabh Kalia and his men. They are taken prisoner. What follows violates every accepted code and convention of war.
By the time their bodies came back, they were mutilated, they were tortured. So that's when the alarm bells started ringing.
Here, all the signs that we got gradually, that these are not Mujahideen or Jihadis, these are all Pakistani army personnel, fully trained and being fully supported by their heavy weapons and helicopters.
The Pakistan Army has put Operation Badr into motion. Pakistani soldiers, disguised as Mujahids, have taken positions across 160 kilometers of Indian territory. In Dras, Mashko Valley, Kaksar, Batalik, and Subsector West. The build-up has happened over months.
When winter set in, people would come down from those heights. There would be no patrolling. There would be no surveillance there in those years. They had seen this gap, the Pakistanis, brilliant in planning.
In an audacious move, the enemy has occupied strategic heights overlooking National Highway 1A. This is the only road connecting Srinagar to Ladakh. And it's under attack. Military action is the need of the hour.
We decided on the code name Operation Vijay, and the cabinet gave us permission that, okay, you go ahead. So that was the turning point in which then rules of engagement were made different.
Operation Vijay is put into motion. It is named for its mission objective: victory at all costs. The eyes of the world are on Kargil. India must tread carefully.
Only condition was that the troops will not cross the line of control, because that was deemed escalatory.
It was time to restore the sanctity of the line of control and take back what was India's, one peak at a time. In the early days of Operation Vijay, casualties mount on the Indian side. Among the hardest hit are units fighting on Tololing. Rising over 15,000 feet, this enemy-held peak is the biggest threat to National Highway 1A. The 18 Grenadiers have lost some of their finest warriors.
You see, the fog of war, we had still not concrete information as to where is the enemy and what strength is he, what weapons is he holding. Whenever they tried to go for the objective, the enemy retaliated in a very, very big way. And the operation was unsuccessful. So it required more troops, it required more firepower.
I made sure after this that we do not put in any attack unless people are fully prepared for it.
The big guns are brought in.
The country were looking at us.
The stakes are high, and much depends on the Indian artillery. Their guns may be mighty, but deploying them in such extreme terrain is a Himalayan challenge.
One is guns moving to a place, second is fighting platforms for the guns to be deployed, and third was how do you replenish ammunition. If the guns are not at a level platform, their rounds will fall in different places.
But India's gunners won't back down. While the Indian artillery prepares to unleash unprecedented firepower, the Indian infantry unit, 2 Rajputana rifles, gets as close to the enemy as possible. It's now or never. The Indian artillery unleashes its might.
And soon after, there was a transmission by the Pakistani people that "Hame bachao, yahan कहर बरस रहा है." And it was pulverized. It was like a small nuclear bomb falling on the enemy.
It's time for the ground troops to go in and finish the job. But their options are limited. Take expected approaches and invite enemy fire, or take a route so treacherous the enemy would never expect it. A bold decision is made. Do both. India has its first taste of victory.
I think the tide turned with the Battle of Tololing.
Once these boys had done that, then I felt assured that yes, we can do it.
The liberation of Tololing opens up new fronts across the battlefields in Dras. All along the LOC, Indian guns are blazing. Each besieged peak is targeted with precision strikes. Among them, the extreme heights of Turtuk. At 18,000 feet and just 2.5 kilometers from the line of control, this is ground zero for the men of 11 Rajputana rifles. Captain Hanifuddin and his squad come under intense attack. The young officer draws enemy fire, making himself a target, so his men can escape. Soon, he runs out of bullets, is surrounded and shot. His men make it back to safety, while Captain Hanifuddin lays down his life on the bloodied slopes of Turtuk. Through June of 1999, India decisively takes back her territory. The tricolor unfurls on each conquered peak.
Nothing succeeds like success. So that gave us full confidence, and that also showed to the world that it is just a question of time.
But some of the hardest battles still lie ahead. The frozen desert at 16,000 feet is occupied by the enemy along 4 critical ridgelines. The linchpin, Kalubar. Taking it would allow the Indian army to drive a wedge into Pakistani strongholds, opening up a third front for an Indian counterattack. The 11 Gorkha rifles must storm Kalubar top. But heavy gunfire has them pinned down. The enemy bunkers targeting them must be taken down. 24-year-old Captain Manoj Pandey volunteers. It will be a suicide mission. The route is all but cleared when he's struck by bullets from a hidden bunker. Captain Pandey falls to his death just short of Kalubar top, but not before eliminating most of the entrenched enemy. His comrades do the rest.
It's very difficult to explain a soldier's psyche. What will motivate him? What will charge him? What will give him the courage to go to sure death?
From Dras to Mashko and Batalik to Turtuk, Pakistan's military misadventure is coming undone. Point 4875 is one of its last strongholds. An artillery observation post from where they have eyes on top commanders and their war rooms. Captain Anuj Nair leads a platoon of 17 Jat Regiment. They must launch a coordinated attack on one of the toughest slopes on point 4875. Four heavily armed enemy bunkers make for an impenetrable wall. But there's no stopping 24-year-old Captain Nair. Three of the 4 bunkers are neutralized, but ammunition is running out, and so is luck. Captain Anuj Nair is killed in action. His sacrifice clears the way for his unit. Thanks to brave hearts like Captain Anuj Nair, most of point 4875 is now reclaimed. But the summit still remains in enemy hands. A young officer of the Indian Army has captured the nation's imagination. Captain Vikram Batra and his unit, the 13 J&K Rifles, have their marching orders. Their objective, point 4875 top. To get to it, the captain and his men must negotiate a narrow ledge. On the other side is the enemy, strength unknown. Given the risks to his brothers-in-arms, Captain Batra decides to recon alone. His codename, Sher Shah, isn't for nothing. Outgunned and outnumbered, the lion fights till his last breath. When the gunfire stops, his men inch forward. The ledge is strewn with bodies of enemy soldiers. 4875 top shall fly Indian colors now. Captain Batra's will to win has prevailed. As India's finest strike decisively at the heart of Pakistan's Operation Badr, international players go into overdrive.
There was tremendous pressure on Vajpayee government, so they started putting pressure on Pakistan. Nawaz Sharif was in fact called in to Washington DC on July the 4th, the one holiday that all Americans enjoy. Nawaz Sharif was meeting Bill Clinton in the White House, and he was almost coerced and forced to admit that it was the Pakistani army which did this, and he was told that you must withdraw.
Far from diplomatic chambers, the stage is set for the mother of all battles. At 17,000 feet, Tiger Hill towers over every other peak in the Dras sector. It has a 360-degree view of the Mashko Valley. Also, its proximity to the National Highway 1A makes it strategically vital.
But see the logistics in this. They had to carry the ammunition to that height, they had to carry water to that height, they had to carry every warlike stores which are required for the conduct of the attack to those heights.
The strategy, deception tactics. The plan, engage the enemy on every obvious front and drive victory home with a surprise attack from an unthinkable approach. The challenge, almost unscalable cliffs. The 18 grenadiers have their mission. 19-year-old grenadier Yogendra Yadav is in the platoon that's making the toughest climb to the top. Near the summit, they take heavy fire. Many braves fall to their death. Bleeding from multiple gunshot wounds, Grenadier Yadav plays dead, waiting for his moment. When all is clear, he attacks. With extraordinary grit, he kills 6 enemy soldiers in close combat and lives to tell the tale. Victory exacts a steep price. But on 8th July 1999, Tiger Hill is back in Indian control.
It is the soldier who makes all the difference. It's the man behind the gun. And here it was the courage and the determination of these young officers and men which saw us get the success and victory.
In the coming weeks, the Indian Army sweeps through other occupied posts along the line of control.
On the 26th of July, then I said that, look, we have done the task given to us. We've achieved success in our mission. And that is how the war ended.
Every inch of enemy-occupied territory is won back.
On the military front, even today, there are many people who still want to know how we managed to achieve recapturing those heights. And the respect that they have for our military has definitely shot up.
Peace brokered on the international stage is finally brought home by India's brave.
A surge of nationalism, patriotism went through the country. War brings bloodshed, pain, anguish, everything. But there was also a sense of satisfaction that at least you evicted all the intruders. That was the mood that time.
India has won the Kargil war, but at incredible cost.
There's a lot of relief that you have successfully completed the operation, but there's a lot of sadness also because the number of lives which you lost, we lost a lot of lives unnecessarily. The emotional angle comes in, when they are your men after all, and they have been, they are obeying your orders, and they die at your command. So you are responsible for what has transpired and the high number of casualties. So I think that part can't be forgotten.
India awards its highest military honor, the Param Veer Chakra, to Captain Manoj Kumar Pandey, Grenadier Yogendra Singh Yadav, and Captain Vikram Batra. Point 4875 is renamed Batra Top after the gallant soldier. The Mahavir Chakra is awarded to Captain Anuj Nair. The Veer Chakra is awarded to Captain Hanifuddin. The place where he fell is renamed Subsector Hanif. There are many more in this legion of heroes, fallen warriors who never returned from the Kargil War. Over 500 Indian soldiers laid down their lives in service to the nation. Over 1,300 were wounded. The great odds that the men of the Indian Army faced on the high frontier defies the imagination. Remarkable young officers and Jawans, barely in their 20s, displayed grit and character far beyond their years, sacrificing their all for honor, for India. Sung or unsung, they shall all forever remain heroes in the collective consciousness of an indebted nation. They are more than just characters in the history of India. They are the stuff of legend.